Doing it different this time. I'm in the studio alone because G is joining me and Josiah for the WWE Studio Slam, and they are both coming to us via the internet. And because of that, well, it's going to be different. Hopefully, it'll be fun because it's a struggle to get through this particular franchise. As you know, I haven't been the biggest of fans of the Marines movies so far. I thought John Triton was trying to be Terminator, and I thought Joe Linwood was an alright guy. Let's see how Jake Carter, but not Leon White's son, Jake Carter, The Miz, does in his first film outing with The Marine 3 Homefront. As was promised on the Marine 2 review, Mr. Thomas, well, my friend G from the channel, Mr. Thomas, has joined me and Josiah for the review of the Marine 3 Homefront, which came out in 2013 and runs 1 hour and 30 minutes. Both of you, welcome to Mr. Super Oz, and thank you for rewatching, or in the case of Josiah, watching the Marine 3 for this here review.
Appreciate you having us. It's always a pleasure.
Cool.
Awesome. So, the first thing that jumped out to me about this movie was me and the Miz having the first job, our first job. Well, not the Miz, Jake Carter, which is actually the name of a former FCW wrestler, not just Miz's character in this movie.
I wonder why that sounded so familiar. Okay.
Yeah. So, so Jesse White, who is Leon White's son, was named Jake Carter in FCW, and the ever so slightly in NXT,
right?
Because he got let go in the early days of Full Sail NXT.
Right.
Okay.
But me and him, we share the first job the government knew we had, or at least that I knew I had, when we both worked at the local lumber yard at our small town nowhere places. So I was like, hey, you're doing good at getting me invested with the babyface early. Cool. I mean that, and it doesn't hurt that 2/3 of this panel have military experience. So I always have a little bit of want to get behind the babyface here in the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know you're the civilian, sir. Yeah, I really enjoyed Miz's voiceover work setting up the principle of what brought him home, the fact that he lost his parents a short time ago, and that he's here to look out for his 2 younger sisters. My thing though, Miz, Jake, whatever you want, I'm sure I'll jump back and forth between what I call him. His pretend parenting kind of got on my nerves the longer the movie went on. Like, I understood being against little rebel boy, but being anti your own best friend, that was a little frustrating in my mind. I was like, come on now. If you can't be for your best buddy, then who are you ever going to be for?
Right.
Because, like, if either of you were like, yo, your sister, we're getting close, I'd be like, well, ain't nobody I'd rather have. You guys are like family, so I'm not against it.
You know what it kind of reminds me of a little bit?
What's that?
Kind of reminds me of Meet the Parents just a little bit with Gaylord Fokker, Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
just a little bit. But I see what you're saying though. Like, if we're cool with each other, I mean, I'd rather have my sister be with somebody that I do know versus somebody that I know nothing about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so his best friend, Jake's best friend. I throughout the movie I call him Hangman because to me the guy I wrote down the actor's name. His name is Jared Kiso. Jared
Mhm.
Kiso is a dead ringer for Adam Hangman Page. Grow out the ponytail and you're good to go, kid. Like I don't know what he looks like today, but like if you're ever making an Adam Page movie, I know who you're casting.
That's our guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now that you bring it up, he does look a lot like Hangman. He's got
Well, and part of the problem was that they called him Hark because his last name was Harkin, but it took me about half the movie to pick that up. Like I was like, is he Park? Is he Hark? I don't know what's going on. So I just wrote Hangman all the time.
Hey, hey, listen, that's a memorable character in a WWE film. So
Yes.
Of course, it's an AEW wrestler that made you remember him. But yeah, I digress.
Hey, wrestling brings people together. I think that was a comment on the prior the Marine 2 movie review.
Yep, it's
so, I don't care if it's AEW or WWE. Wrestling brings people together.
Hey, a power driver is a power driver, and a clothesline is a clothesline. Just a different name. RKO, Diamond Cutter, Stunner. It's still a cutter at the end of the day.
How about
Amen. So this movie, Marine 3, it carried on the tradition of the Marine 1 and the Marine 2, where the antagonist throughout the film really carried the weight of things. So obviously in John Triton's The Marine, it was Robert Patrick and a little bit of Manu Bennett doing the heavy lifting when it came to the acting. Right. And in Ted DiBiase, his movie, it was Django Fett, and although Yondu wasn't a villain, he was a side character who was also helping carry the load when it came to the acting portion of that movie.
Right.
This time, Neil McDonough, I think McDonough, whatever. I don't know how to say his name, but he's a good actor, known from Arrow and Captain America, all kinds of great work the guy's done. But he and his crew of misfits, if you will, they really are the ones who, to me at least personally, I thought were doing all the heavy lifting when it came to the good acting. Neil, the lead antagonist, he was the most believable person throughout the entire film. What's that?
I agree.
Oh,
I agree. I ain't even cut you off, but I'm just saying I agree with you.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, feel free to chime in anytime. I was just gonna say because there were not just the local police, but also FBI and like I said, the Jake's sisters.
What a deuce.
Nobody was as believable as the lead bad guy. That's all I was gonna say.
Right. You know what? Just to think about that. Anytime you have one of these types of films, you always gotta have, like, of course, that big buff or muscular dude or bodybuilder, wrestler, whoever it is, right, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy that has like the least acting, you know what I'm saying? And then just to balance it out, they got to bring in somebody who knows how to act as a villain to, carry said film. Like,
absolutely.
Even with Peacemaker, I felt that Robert Patrick did, some of his best work in that, because I'm like, if I actually ran into this guy in the streets, I would not want to meet him and hang out with him. So that's how I felt about Neil McDonough's character as well. It's like, I mean, yeah, you kind of sort of like question his motives, but then the way his bad guy character was, you don't want to question his motives. Other words, you end up with a bullet to the head, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he had a great duality about him where he was calm and collected often, but when he needed to turn up the heat, when he had to make the point, he was good at that too. Right. And this movie really departed from the first and even the second when it came to its use of profanity. So I notated, not that I care per se, but I notated that within the first 10 minutes, they had dropped 3 F-bombs. And I mean, I had gotten up to, I think, 10 at one point, just as a general, like, wow, I think that I think I've heard that many, and it was kind of surprising given how welcoming the first Marine and even the follow-up film were. They were very open to
there's a lot
people
more
who weren't fans of that.
Yeah.
It was a lot more like the first two films. I remember them being like real, like, okay, if I had a child to take, I'd take the child to see these movies. I mean, I wouldn't pay for it like that, but I want to let them watch these movies.
Okay, maybe if they're in trouble, you'll sit down and watch this as punishment.
Yeah, but just, like, wow, they're just cursing up a storm just for fun, huh? Like, I don't remember looking, but did was the rating for this different? And I
didn't think to check either. And
hold on for a minute. I think it might have been an R-rated film. Hold on, I'm not sure.
It had to be, I feel like. But while you look for that, I'm going to talk about how I thought that the youngest sister, she was a little more annoying than I would have liked. So the whole time, her and her bad boyfriend are captured by the bad guys. So the bad boy, he's trying to play tough, but she won't shut her dang mouth. Like, stop with the whining, girl. Like, ain't nobody here for that.
Bro, it's just like,
go ahead, G.
No, I don't know. Josiah, you watch anime, right?
All the time.
Okay, she reminds me of like that one annoying like character in anime that makes you go like, I know I want the protagonist to beat the bad guys, but can somebody please shut whoever this is the hell up, please?
Yeah, the one that's screaming in the background and crying, "No, don't do it, don't do it."
I'm like, are you sure that she's like part of this storyline, or should she get killed because it's a canon event? If you call that reference,
that was a nice one. See, that was a nice one.
I'm just saying, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I don't like point characters. I really don't.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a trope because everyone has that person in their lives that just kind of yaps on and doesn't shut up. Situation calls for it, but yeah, I agree. On without it, or like just a simple pulling a roll of duct tape and just taping her mouth shut.
Right.
I think that was done to illustrate just how hard it is for Jonas Pope to get good help these days, because Neil McDonald could not get good help in the bad guy game. I guess all the henchmen, the union was on strike or something, because
the Christmas bonus.
Hey, as a union man myself, I found that funny, but damn, I guess he should have called. They should have called the job steward to say, "Hey, can you please get her to shut up?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me talk to you.
So there's this one part of the movie that really told me that Vince McMahon was behind it. So we all know Vince has his hand in WWE Studios because, those three letters. But when Jake Carter, The Miz, gets arrested by Hangman Page, his best friend, I was like, this is almost as believable as when they arrest Stone Cold or Charlotte Flair, Lynch, or any wrestler. Every time a wrestler gets arrested, I'm like, you just took me out the story. I don't believe you whatsoever. And I feel the same way when Jake's best friend arrested him. I'm like, how long before he released him? And it was like the next scene.
Like literally the next scene. Like, what was the purpose? Like, what was the purpose at all? Like,
for that momentary shock value, was trying to catch you off guard, man.
Yeah, I legit wrote. I said, did a different person write the open and the climax? Because Jonas Pope, he has a big plan throughout the whole film. He's like, oh, I'm gonna take down the system. I'm gonna show them all. And then in the climax, he's like, I guess I'll just blow up one car in the middle of the road and it'll be enough. And like in the beginning, I was behind the hero and I was wanting to enjoy this, but the longer the film went, which is crazy because it wasn't even all that long, the more I was getting lost and not being into it.
As my man Eli Drake says, you get lost in the sauce, man. You gotta stay focused, stay on track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you.
Exactly. Dude, guys, I was watching this short today, It said something like this is like a fever dream. It was
I
Matt
saw
Hardy.
it was all the
So Matt Hardy was saying
promo.
delete. Yeah. So Matt Hardy was saying delete. Eli Drake was saying and Jeff Hardy was saying obsolete, and that's the only thing anybody was saying in the whole dang promo.
And then Jeff Fine was like, "This is confusing. I'll see you next week." The best part is I remember watching it live, which is like, oh, this is great nostalgia. And I remember, wow, this is the most insane segment in the world. Like 2015, 2016 Impact was just bizarre with
stuff.
With the talent they had. Because I think when they had Drew Galloway, Angaloa, they had MVP, and they had Bobby Lashley. So it was like a stacked roster.
Absolutely.
But, oh, man, just because it was Impact, though, everyone treated it like it was a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't really see a whole lot of need in continuing on. I'm going to go ahead and give out my rating right here and now. 5. I recommend for anybody who hasn't watched it, just pass on. Don't even put it in the DVD player. Don't stream it if you can find it streaming. It's told me
that sooner.
Well, I'm pretty sure you had already gone down this road before, right?
Back in 2020 when the world thought it was going to end. So I said, "Oh the hell with it. Might as well watch the films."
Tasting the demise by watching the Marine 3.
Right, I might as well prepare for the end of the world. Let me watch the Marine film. Just saying.
There you go. So, in preparation for the next viewing, I watched the trailer for the Marine 4, and it gives me pause to think about what has been announced for the channel. Because, as was already stated, Robert Patrick and Manu Bennett, Django Fett, I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, and Jonas Pope, who is Neil McDonough, are all the best parts of all of the original Marine movies. And it really appears as though Vince, in all his wisdom, decided to scrap the best part of all the movies, which is the good actors, and replace them by additionally putting in WWE wrestlers in the villain roles. And it makes me not look forward to, although one upside is I love hanging out with you guys, so I think that'll help a little. But it makes me not look forward to rewatching 4, watching 5 and 6 for the first time.
Those last 3 films, you know what they give me?
What?
They give me no holds barred vibes. When they do, because it's like, hey,
See, that's the thing. Is Tiny Lister was the original, like, bad guy, and there was also another actor whose name doesn't come to mind, but the executive guy, the basically Vince McMahon type, who actually did really good work in that too.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who the standout No Holds Barred was in my mind?
Who?
Stan Hansen.
You know what?
So one line did it for me. One line, he said, "Tiny Wayner, Tiny Wayner," and when he spits his tobacco, that was, I was like, so good.
But it's so great.
But
I've been saying since day one, man, we don't have to watch all these films, right? Like, I know you said you wanted to, but heaven forbid you lie to the people.
Oh God! Hey, be glad we're not on Twitter, because they would really roast us like salted peanuts.
Oh no.
Hey, I try my best to be upfront and honest with people. And so one of the reasons why I tend not to announce the video that is coming is in case life happens. So last Friday's video was originally going to be a triple shot. I even tell people as I'm recording, not the triple shot, that Brandon couldn't make it, and so I had to pull a rabbit out of my hat and go a different direction.
Right, I get it.
It's kind of my own fault it's 100% my own fault, and I apologize to both of you for pre-announcing that we were going to knock out this whole franchise. But again, I appreciate you both for being here. Before I close this out and before I do some shilling, G, what is your overall rating of Marine 3 Homefront?
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. I give it 2 out of 5. it's watchable. It's just something that you just put on in the background when you're like folding clothes or vacuuming your living room or something like that. I'm just saying. But can I also add this too while I'm thinking about it before I forget?
Add whatever you like. Add whatever you like.
Bro, The Miz in these last 4 Marine films actually does, to me, like fits into his character playing the heel, thinking that he's in some mega blockbuster film. Well, we all know that the rest of this franchise is like, yeah, what was Vince McMahon smoking when he decided to do these movies?
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, what was the old man smoking? I mean, I understand he had those little personal issues going on. He could,
he's personal issues going on every day of his life.
Misappropriation of the funds, if you will.
He should have paid hush money for them not to make these damn movies. I'm just saying.
It would have been a better investment, that's for sure.
Right.
For these movies, I agree. Oh man.
Sorry, what's your rating before I do the closeout shilling?
I give it a 1, man. I would really, like G said, I'd put this on in the background, and then remember why am I playing this when I can play literally millions of other things and turn it off immediately.
Right.
Like this is not worth like ever putting on my screen again.
I totally understand, and I appreciate you suffering for the sake of the channel, and I hope that we can stay friends when it's all said and done.
We'll still be friends.
So this isn't as bad as Spirit.
Good. Okay. And yeah, and that was a little bit of me and a little bit of Brandon, so I can't be blamed for all of that.
Right. That I think it helps that it was split between the two of you. Listen,
exactly.
I'm just hoping that, because The Miz wasn't like the worst actor I've ever seen, but God, was he like? I don't know if this was like his very first movie. It
was.
Yeah. Okay. You can tell.
He always had cue cards in front of him. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I thank you both for being here, and I look forward to shooting the Marine 4 WWE Studio Slam. I am now going to go solo and thank all of you for being here and joining us for this WWE Studio Slam. If you're still here, I need you to click the link in the description below. Follow that to my Indiegogo store, where you can pick yourself up a copy of my 68-page graphic novel, Everlasting Survivors, Volume 1, all day long. There are 5 cover options. There are hats, there are shirts, there are 2 posters. Anybody who makes a purchase will get a Gamble Comics sticker. Thank you for watching. Come back on Tuesday and Thursday for trivia, and see you on Friday for Friday Free for All video. Who knows what it'll be, but it'll be a good time. Thank you. Later.